Football Corner Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremiah Queen. And before we get started with today's episode, recapping what happened in week one and how exciting the first week of the NFL season has been. And I tell you, it's been very exciting. I'd like for all my viewers out there on YouTube to hit that subscribe button, click that like button. Also, leave a comment, click that notification bell so you can be notified when new videos and episodes drop on the channel. Also, if you're listening to me on the podcast app, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or even Spotify, go subscribe to the podcast. It's just that easy. Now, week one, okay? Week one was exciting. Whether it was the Miami Dolphins game versus the LA Chargers game, you also had the Jags versus Colts game that was exciting, or even the Buccaneers and Vikings game that went all the way down to the wire. A lot of games were close games, and it's like week one typically is. But let's start with a segment I'm going to call Heroes and Zeros, in which a hero is a person who saved the day for their team and the reason why they actually got the victory. And then you got zeros, which all they did was hurt the team. They didn't benefit the team. They were very costly. My first hero, or heroes, is because they're a duo. Probably the best duo for this season. And I'm not going to overhype because it's week one, but Tua threw for 466 yards. And Tyreek Hill had over 200 yards receiving. If that's not a combination to be reckoned with, I don't know what is. See, the problem is that everybody thought Tua, if he could stay healthy, he will be a electrifying quarterback. But we're not talking about how Tyreek Hill has made Tua the man he is today. Tua has to have the skill set to get the job done. But Tyreek Hill makes his job a whole lot easier. I mean, you could argue that Tyreek Hill had a top 5 career day ever at the receiver position. He had 11 catches, over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, with the second touchdown being the game-winning touchdown. Tua was just poised, wasn't phased. I don't know if y'all remember last year, the Chargers and the Dolphins actually played this game, and it was kind of one-sided. But Tua's banged up. He wasn't all there. He's been out through injuries. Healthy Tua, was ready to go, and he was dominant, electrifying. You name it. They put up 36 points. This Dolphins offense is going to be something to be reckoned with. But the reason why they have them in my playoffs is because the health of Tua. Now, if Tua stays healthy throughout the season, there's a potential for them to be barking in the AFC. But as of now, I don't want to overreact about the Dolphins. The Dolphins are still going to be a high-powered team like I thought they would. But can they sustain this long-term? That will be the question. Also, another hero, Brock Purdy. Okay, Brock Purdy, he's a little better than what I thought he is. I know I didn't want to give Brock Purdy the credit. And I also picked the Steelers to win. And I'll talk about that a little later, how I just whiffed on that Steelers pick. But Brock Purdy was dominant, okay? Dominant in the performance against the Steelers. I mean, if you look at the first quarter by itself, it wasn't even a battle. Brock Purdy had his way against the Steelers defense. Steelers still have the best player on defense in TJ Watt. TJ Watt even having 3 sacks. But Brock Purdy had a couple touchdowns, a little under 300 passing yards. Brandon Ayuk had over 100 yards. But Brock Purdy is the reason why this 49er engine is going to be going, and the reason why I have them going far, and I do mean far, in the NFC, and especially in the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers are in the NFC Championship game again. Now let's talk about our zeros, okay? First off, we got to talk about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was atrocious, and I mean atrocious. And you're going to give him excuses because of the cash strain and all this other stuff. But guess what? I just want to say, I told you so. I literally talked about this. Joe Burrow, it's just something about him playing the Browns. He does not play his best football. Plus, it didn't help that he missed a lot of training camp. He didn't play no preseason. He looked rusty. The offense looked rusty. He didn't have 150 passing yards. Did not. You can't pass for 150 passing yards in an NFL game. This is the guy who has the highest contract in NFL history. He's the highest paid player in NFL history. Joe Burrow will bounce back. I do believe so. But just as a lot of other quarterbacks who are not getting as much recognition get a lot of hate, you have to put a little hate on what Joe Burrow did against the Browns. Only put up 3 points. The score was 24-3. The Browns had his number, and they just had his number throughout his whole entire career. Now he's 1-5 against the Browns. He is the 0 that I put on my list. And he's not the only 0. Just back it up a little bit. Back it up. Because he's not the only guy who failed his team today. Not the only guy. Gino. What we doing, Gino? What happened? Man, you're a comeback player of the year. You got a new contract. Had over 30-plus touchdowns last year. And you lose against the Rams? Maybe it's just me. Maybe I underestimated what the Rams were. At least for 1 week. Because I did not see that coming. The Rams, Matthew Stafford threw for over 350 yards. I guess we shouldn't be surprised, but I'm a little surprised because there was a lot of question marks going into the preseason about what Matthew Stafford actually could be and what this offense was going to be. But they showed up, and Geno Smith is a big reason why his team did not succeed in week 1. Money ain't change. Yes, money ain't change. New segment I'll be doing when in regards to predictions I probably made a little too fast. Okay? Well, was I on the money on it? Or do I need to change my little tune about a team I'm hating on? First, I was on the money when I was talking about Joe Burrow not being ready to play the Browns. He wasn't. He wasn't ready to play the Browns. Whether it was all that money he had told around because he got the new contract, or whether it was the cash strain he had, or it's just the fact that he can't beat the Browns. I mean, he's 1-5 against the Browns. I kind of called it. I do believe the Bengals will bounce back, but the Browns are not it's not the same old Browns. The Browns is a contender. They're a good team, and they will be playing as such. And Myles Garrett is a menace who got after the quarterback, and Joe Burrow was looking lost. The whole offense looked like they haven't played a down of football. It's because they haven't, because no one decided to play in preseason, and he barely was there in training camp. So I was on the money on that one. And then, I need to change my tune about, putting a little respect on the 49ers. I picked the Steelers to actually beat the 49ers because I thought the Steelers were a better team than what they displayed on Sunday. But unfortunately, they did not live up to what I thought they could be, at least in week 1. Week 1, hold your horses. I still like the Steelers making the playoffs. But for 1 week, I do believe the 49ers were the better team, and I should give the Niners some respect. I already give the Niners respect because I think they're going to be a dominant team in the NFC. But as of now, the Steelers will bounce back. It was, they happened to play one of the best teams in the NFC, and they had to play against Nick Bosa and Jackson and company on that defensive line. And they also have Fred Warner at the linebacker position. Their defense is really good, being led by Steve Wilkes, a great defensive coordinator in the NFL. So I would need to change my tune about the Niners just a little bit. I need to change my tune after week 1. And also I was on the money about the Packers. The Packers blow out the Bears, which we shouldn't be surprised because the Packers have been doing this forever. I mean, the Packers own the Bears at this point. Now you got Jordan Love, at least for 1 week, 3 touchdowns, over 240 passing yards, no interceptions, just looked smooth, calm, and collect. I do have the Packers making the playoffs. At least for 1 week, I look like a genius. Just for 1 week, I believe in the Packers and I look like a genius. So I'll take the money on that one. I do like what I saw from the Packers in week 1 and the Bears. Woo! The Bears have some big questions to ask going into week 2. Upset of the day. We'll have to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I believe I said that Baker Mayfield is no scrub. He has weapons on the offense in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I thought that the Vikings defense was a little suspect. He threw for 2 touchdowns, a little over 150 passing yards. Nothing to rave about, but he got the job done and was efficient in doing it. The Buccaneers still a win against the Vikings, 20-17. I believe that the Buccaneers will be a sneaky competitive team for the rest of the season. In week 1, they're 1-0. It's them and the Falcons are 1-0 and the Saints are 1-0. A few other teams I didn't really get to talk about in this episode. So I'm going to shout out the Falcons. I'm going to shout out the Saints. But for now, the Buccaneers are 1-0. And Baker Mayfield is slowly creeping on the radar in week 1. And then we could talk about our Sunday MVP, which will go it's the only guy who could get it. It's Tyreek Hill. 11 catches, 215 receiving yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. How can he not be the Sunday MVP? He was the most valuable player on Sunday. The Dolphins do not win that game, despite Tua being great. The Dolphins don't win that game without Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is the cheat code at receiver. And I don't care if he's not the best pass catcher or best route runner. He has speed, and speed kills in the NFL, and he's showing that he uses speed to be the most dominant and explosive receiver we ever see in NFL history. Yes, I say NFL history. We've never seen nothing like it. Mark that, because I'm saying Tyreek Hill is going to be All-Pro this season, and he's going to be Offensive Player of the Year. You heard it here first. Wait, you're still here? You're still watching this video? Well, if you're watching this video, hit the subscribe button. Hit that like button. Leave a comment below. Turn on the notification bell so you can be up to date when I post my next video. It would be greatly appreciated. See you next time.